No, it's very strange. It's like the normal rules of the game.
Have they
It fe- it
though?
it just feel I'm not sure.
Okay, Isaiah and Annie Z have a bit more
I'm
like
going by vibes.
EMJ. No, this is what we're trying to find the vibe again. We've lost the vibe. Like
Yeah.
EMJ says, wealth isn't gold, it's labor. Yes. And there's something, it's like we've been, one of our other themes we were trying to sort of play through with is where are the men gone? Where is the labor? Where are the men? What is the work? Soros can have billions without people, he has no power. And then with Kanye, he had billions and it was taken because he influenced people wrongly. Mel's saying no more 2020 vision. Yeah, there's something weird
Mm.
right now.
Yeah, it's
We were
very
looking.
strange.
Mel showed us earlier this evening this little comic. I think it was Saturday Night Live of like COVID brain where we've forgotten everything. I do recognize that a lot of the COVID spell stuff of mask up and be bewildered and be told to do this and then change the rules and do that and constantly switching back and forth was in fact to confuse us all so that we gaslighting. We've done it. We did our episode on gaslighting. We know we've been gaslit
Yeah.
over and over and over again.
Even the people that are supposed to be remedying all of this are in a kind of gaslighting of people.
So now I'm showing Novak in his mask and then with his cross on the mountain. Yes, so they're
Yeah.
covered or heroic. I mean, some of the problem here is we don't. I mean, everybody's constantly swirling around and looking for a leader. I mean, the best we get is costume characters, right? Pretend superheroes or tennis players. I mean,
Yes.
we are in trouble if this is the leadership of our civilization, is guys who play sports.
Yes.
And that's it. Not just they play sports and then are training their souls for something else. That there is it's like you've taken the only thing you train for is the sport, which has, I admit, very great spiritual benefits and clearly gives strength of character, as Novak has shown. But that it's
Mhm.
kind of like, okay, so we've got nothing left but the form of the desire for heroic activity, or costume
Yeah.
guys pretending to be bull warriors. There's no warriors.
Yes.
But I'm not even sure who we'd fight. Pell tried to, and he got sent to prison. Benedict tried to, and he felt himself too frail to stand up against other old men. I'm not sure. What is it that we're fighting? The Matrix. How about Xi and Putin? Are we fighting them? No,
But
I mean it's horrible and comic, and this is
okay,
this is
so
where at least I'm deeply grateful to Vox for at least it's like none of this is going to come as a surprise. I remember having an argument with one of my colleagues in my department. I think 2 years ago. Was it 2 years ago? Maybe it was last. I can't remember. COVID memory. I've lost. He actually is a specialist on the history of modern China, and I was asking him then do you think Taiwan is gonna fall? And he said that's ridiculous. I think this was last year. And I'm sort of wondering now about, it's like when Taiwan gets absorbed by China, is anybody going to be surprised? Or are we just going to all have been gaslit so completely that everybody will just have forgotten that that was never going to happen, including my colleague? I want to kind
yeah.
of like plant markers and ask people. It's like those who should be getting the appointments at the big think tanks that are apparently in control of all of this influence and insight. Are any of them able to predict right now exactly how all of this is going to play out? Certainly nobody in the West seems to be paying any proper attention to anything.
No.
It is horrifically. I mean, what Zelensky and Biden are our guys. Yeah, sure. It's catfishing of two sorts.
Oh yes. We've got the new masculine influencer who's essentially run around catfishing all of these guys out of their money. He's top G, and he's the alpha for all of these sad boys that need their way into mass. I will honestly, it's like it's the kind of things. It's the kind of thing that women do when they're like, I'm going to buy exercise videos. Like in the 90s when they still had VHS tapes, and everyone would buy exercise videos.
Hmm.
And then no one would do the exercises, but they have like a stack of 10. A lot of people like that. Um, you'll buy your way into looking like an aerobics model. So it's the same thing. But he's been catfishing everyone, right? So he's been fishing everyone and cleaning out their wallets. Meanwhile, Putin's a completely different hustle, and I find that really amazing. I had to put those pictures together because the supposed enemy of the West and the enemy of the liberal world and democracy and every the boogeyman is out fishing, taking PR shot to show everybody that he's a reliable, stoic, masculine archetype. And you're by presenting these images to the public because it works. I mean, you look at them and you think, yeah, he looks like what he's doing and fulfilling his role as the political patriarch of the Russian Federation. But at least in that example, he is out of other people's lives to a degree that requires him to do something to help them. So,
well, I'm thinking about this simply on the level of image.
Yeah.
And that we had Novak on the balcony with his tennis racket without his shirt on. And now we have Putin, who back in the previous picture is dressed in the usual costume of the men of the world, which I've also been thinking about how absolutely boring the modern men's clothing is. It's like you maybe get a fancy tie, but Beau Brummel has a lot to answer for. It's interesting that the way the British conquer the world is make all the men dress in the most boring way possible. Oh wait, so don't tell Milo that, because you can have very well cut suits from Savile Row and stuff like that. But it's like the performative glamour or prestige or power is, as you were saying, the Australians were walking around as if behaving like they're in office casual or something. But even when all of these heads of state are dressed up, they don't get to have, military uniforms with lots of medals and things like that. They have to, if they're going to play the power game now, they have to dress like these business guys with the plainest suits they can possibly find and very plain ties. And I mean, Putin and Xi in this picture, I mean, you could tell the difference because they're standing in front of different flags, but otherwise one's taller than the other. I don't know. I mean, I want shaman guys with hats on and paint and, sticks that you shake and that there's some kind of performative magic, or, at least the Pope with his red shoes, for goodness sake. It's interesting how, we're in this visual rhetoric of the most powerful people have the least distinctiveness.
Yes, because they look like it's like everyone's dressed like they're bank employees.
They're dressed like they're what?
They're dressed like they're bank employees.
Yes. Well, maybe they are. Maybe they are.
Like, even the socialists, I mean, well, like, they're supposed to be urban nationalists, and they're dressed identically. They're not in ethnic costume.
Right.
Xi is Chinese. He just looks like a West guy who works for a bank. Same with the Russian Chad, who should be wandering around like he's, half-step people, half Orthodox Roman emperor. You expect something a little bit more
exactly.
of a zhuzh, but no, same thing. You can't tell the nations apart. You can't even tell the leaders of the nations look the same. That's how much they've homogenized. Quite funny that they're anti-globo homo, because they're not in ethnic dress.
Well, these guys, I mean, so whatever they are, and we can admit that probably what my colleagues on campus, except for maybe John Mearsheimer, although I think his politics are not mine, but that's okay. that, you know, all of these guys, they're all controlled out of that same business school thing that I
Yeah.
can't remember what is it at Harvard.
Philosophically or literally?
Well, we don't know, do we?
Mm-hmm.
Because as everyone loves showing, it's like Putin has gone to, you know, a lot of the same meetings and the WEF and the this and that. I forgot. I mean, it's like, why should we pay any attention if in fact all of these organizations just blend into one single organization that has, you know, different flags on the walls of the different buildings where they happen to meet in different parts of the world, but that they are in fact a single entity. And that even this with Xi and Putin apparently standing up against the West. I mean, people are also saying it's like Biden's never going to go against Xi. He works for him. The degree to which we actually have. Okay, so.
I mean,
what's funny about this is I'm not even sure the people of the world are that much against each other, except for. And this maybe goes in too weird of a place, because there clearly are contests between nations going on, like actual, you know, animosities between peoples. But the major one constantly is showing it's the people against their own governments, which is what those shaman are supposed to be demonstrating.
That seems to be more common.
But what are we actually against? If we're against our own governments, what are we actually against?
I'm not against my government. I just don't know where they've gone.
It feels like we're fighting fog, right?
Yeah,
is the problem masculinity? Is the problem? I mean, so Mel is saying we're against usury. Yes. I mean, a lot of I think what we're against is this feeling of utter loss of identity, which is our saying that we've taken the masks off, whatever roles that we were playing. My main impression in reading this article was these people have so much power and I've never even heard of them.
Yeah.
So there is this vagueness to everything. I'm talking about how much money they have, how many boards they sit on, how many, you know, government appointments they've had, how many business arrangements they've been party to, and saying, wow. And every so often I think of myself as moderately important because, I don't know, I teach at a big university, but I'm clearly not, right? I'm clearly this, you know, in the influencer world. I mean, anybody that we know, that we can see, I mean, bless his heart, even Milo, none of us have whatever it is that ends up with being able to make Novak have to wear a mask.